Indie Beacon Radio with host B. Alan Bourgeois. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Indie Beacon Radio. This is your host, Alan Bourgeois, and I have with me Randi Ward. Welcome, Randi.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here because you've got an interesting story that you've told in your book, Dream Bigger, and a whole bunch more. But let's go ahead and start with the basics. You've been a teacher for 37 years, correct?
Yes.
All right, so you retired, you were ready for a great life, but yet you chose to go to Egypt at an interesting period of time, and I'm sure, without a doubt, you didn't realize what was going to happen. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but you wanted to go to Egypt for what purpose?
Well, I got an offer from a Facebook friend with a school called SYE, Spread Your English, that was just opening up to teach English as a second language to young adults, university students, and young professionals like lawyers and doctors and engineers that wanted to improve their English. Some of them, they all had a little bit of English skills, but some of them were more advanced than others. And I thought, wow, this is great. I'm a world traveler. I've been in 60 countries. So the idea of going to Egypt and living by myself without my husband didn't terrify me at all. You know, I was ready for it. Even though the first revolution had just ended, things were calm. I thought, it's perfect. I can go. I'll be safe. Little did I know that a week after I got there, the second revolution started, and I was living 3 blocks from Tahrir Square, the center of the revolution. Every day I would see protesters, hear violence, gunshot. I actually listened to 12 people die and 120 people get injured in a gun battle 1/2 block from my flat in December 2011. Yes, it was frightening. I cried all night.
I can imagine, and I assume you ducked for fear of bullets coming through the windows or doors or even the walls.
You know, amazingly enough, I wasn't afraid. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't allow myself to be afraid because I had no choice. I mean, I couldn't get out of the place. I just buckled down in my bedroom and hoped, away from windows and everything, and hoped I'd be okay. The only thing I was concerned about is that they started fires, because they would do that often. They just start things on fire, cars in the streets. But I knew how to get to the metro, which was in the opposite direction from where the protesting was. So I thought, if I have to, I'll go get on one of the trains, which was away from it. But like I said, I just cried all night because I knew people were dying. And then the next morning, after 6 hours of total violence and listening to people chanting and screaming and crying, there was total silence. That was even more eerie than the violence. So I had to go and teach that day. So I got up and I thought, okay, I've got to get out of here, but I don't hear anything. So I went outside and there was no one. No one. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. There was no one. I walked to the end of my street and there was barbed wire all around the street, but nobody, no trash, no people, nothing. It was just bizarre. So I went the other way to get to the metro, and a lot of my students came that day, but I was not in any good shape to teach. We pretty much talked about the revolution. I hadn't gotten any sleep, but they were so supportive. They supported me that day and tried to teach me about the culture and what was going on with the revolution and why this was so important to them, because I couldn't understand why people were risking their lives. And actually, I mean, they were in the streets being gunned down by the military police. They were not armed. I'm thinking, why would they do that? Well, because this is important to us. We don't have guns, but we're going to die trying to get our revolution. And I thought that was kind of silly, but looking back at it, and being in Egypt for 3 months, I can see why they want to change. It was not a good place.
Yeah, I can imagine it being a very rough time on many levels and stuff. And it's great that they were able to communicate to you why it was so important for them and help you understand the culture better, which also presents an interesting situation because here you are, an American blonde female walking through the streets. So that itself must be presenting some issues for you. And what did you experience with that?
Well, you know, I did get a lot of attention, but there are some Egyptians that do not wear hijabs, you know. I mean, there are Coptic Christians that live there, but being blonde with blue eyes, was definitely different. I have a funny story about that. On January 25th, 2012, this was the 1-year anniversary of the overthrow of Mubarak, their dictator they'd had for 30 years. So they had a big 2 million people celebration in Tahrir Square, okay? So I decided, I taught that day, and I'd seen 2 huge flags being carried by hundreds of people down the streets to the square. And one of my students and I, a female, decided that we would go to the square and celebrate. So I put a black hijab on that she had extra. We came out of the metro, and the first person that saw me goes, "Hi, American." And I said, "How did you know? Your blue eyes." I mean, I was totally covered. I looked very Egyptian, except for my blue eyes. So everywhere I went, they always knew I was American. They didn't say you're Scandinavian or British. You're an American. You walk like American. You act like an American. You're an American. But they embraced me. And I have literally thousands of friends in Egypt that are still like family to me because of my experience. A lot of them are in their 20s, they're my students. But I mean, I have people I consider family. I mean, it was really an amazing experience. And I treasure every minute of it.
Now, if I understand you correctly, you were there for 3 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well,
the first time I went in May of 2011, funny story again, it's in my book. I was supposed to go to a wedding of a Facebook friend, and I was supposed to stay at her house. Well, her father went crazy on her for some reason, and I couldn't stay with her. So I ended up staying in the Cataract Pyramids Resort in Giza, and I was the only guest in the entire 5-star hotel. So all of the guys that worked at the stores, like the jewelry store and the clothing store, they adopted me as their sister and took care of me. And every day they bring me fresh flowers into my room. I was treated like a queen. But I did meet some of my friends that I'd met on Facebook during that time. So I was there for like 3 weeks. Never went to the wedding, but the night that I was supposed to go to my friend's wedding, I crashed a wedding that was taking place at the hotel. Didn't know the people. I met one of the bridesmaids in the lobby restroom. She said, "Come to our wedding." So I had on an Egyptian gown that I had bought, and she insisted. So I went to an Egyptian wedding reception. Didn't know anybody there, but one of the bridesmaids, and they welcomed me like I was one of them. It was amazing. I have pictures of it in my book.
That does sound wonderful.
It was wonderful. Like I said, it was a scary time, but I had so many wonderful memories, and I made the best of everything. Even though I was struggling with no Arabic and trying to shop by myself at first, my friends helped me, but I couldn't call everybody 24/7 to come and help me. So I had to learn to become an Egyptian woman. And I always was able to find somebody that spoke enough English if I really got stuck. But trying to shop in stores where all the food was in Arabic, and of course they're using the metric system for everything, for buying food and meat and all that, it was a struggle. I would just point and smile and finally get what I wanted. And then trying to take taxi cabs. None of the taxi cab drivers spoke English. Taking the metro. This is a funny story too. The women are supposed to ride in the ladies' cars without the men. It's very, divided here, okay? Well, I got on with the ladies one day, and because my blonde hair, and they knew I wasn't one of them, they were vicious. They were pushing their baby buggies into me. And one lady who was obviously a Coptic Christian, who spoke English, grabbed my arm and said, "Get out of this with me at the next stop. They're going to kill you." And I'm going, geez. So she said, "Get on the men's car." And I said, "But I'm not supposed to ride the men's car." She goes, "You have to ride the men's car. They'll be kind to you." So from that day on, I rode on the men's car, and they would just separate and let me in and smile.
Okay, did she explain why the women were being vicious at that point?
Because she said it's jealousy. She said they want the freedom that they know you have, the freedom to not have to be just a mother and wife at home, because a lot of them weren't allowed to work. The men are very strict about that. Now, I think more and more the younger ones are working out of necessity, but the older ladies, they almost snarled at me. Now, not my friends. My friends, when they got to know me, it was different. But people that didn't know me, some of the women, the men were always nice, but the women, it was like I was an outcast. And I think they were jealous because they knew I was an American and had a lot more independence than they had. And so in close quarters with them, I had to be careful, seriously. they were not nice to me all the time.
That's a shame. And I'm sure a lot of it also was the fact that here you were a blonde, blue eye, which in some respects may have been the men's fantasy or illusion, and
Yes,
that didn't help either. So
yes, I've had 250 marriage proposals from the Arab world. Yes, and and I was married at the time, so yeah, you're
I'm
right.
sure you and your husband had great laughs over it.
Yeah, you should tell him. He said, how many marriage proposals you get today? Maybe 3. Bless his heart, I miss him so much, though. As I told you, my husband passed away, so I'm still trying to recover from that. But I'm a strong woman. I'll make it.
It sounds like you are, and we've just got a couple minutes left of this section. So without giving away too much of the book and stuff, what was the main reason you chose to write it?
Well, like I said, I've been in 60 countries, and I'd had all these amazing experiences all over the world, China and Southeast Asia, and everywhere, all over the world. But I guess because this experience, I lived not as a tourist, not in the 5-star hotels, except for my, experience when I went in May. I lived in a flat that was very expensive, but nothing worked in it. I mean, it was pretty much, I wouldn't put my St. Bernard in it. It was really terrible. And I was paying a lot because I was a foreigner. And it was in Garden City where the American embassies and a lot of the embassies were, but the woman didn't keep it up, and it wasn't nice. So I think having to struggle as an Egyptian made me realize just how lucky I am as an American, how privileged I am. And when I came home, I felt so bad for these people. And I thought, I wanted so much for them. I wanted their democracy to work. And of course, we know it didn't, it failed. But I wanted to tell their story. And I've done a lot of interviews, and I've done YouTube videos because I have a YouTube channel. I've interviewed a lot of people. I just wanted to tell their story. In fact, I went back in 2013 in January after my book was published to promote my book, and I was in 2 magazine articles and 2 newspaper articles there. I was supposed to be interviewed by Al Jazeera, but then the whole Syria mess started, and the reporter had to go to Syria to report of that. That was when that was starting. But these people, except for the ladies that were sometimes not too nice, the people embraced me. They helped me so much. And the young people are so intelligent, but yet they don't really have any opportunities there. And I wanted to help in some way. So this is the reason I wrote my book. And this is my book. And you can see, I actually put a lot of pictures in it. This is when I went to a Chinese festival, and this is part of the revolution. It was in my neighborhood. This is me that day. I went to the hijab, but in the celebration, you can see my hijab with my blue eyes. Of course, it's black and white there. So I just wanted to help these people in some small way if I could. And the problem is they're the ones that want to read my book, but they can't afford it. So, so I've given a lot of books away because I wanted them to know and embrace how much I cared about them too,
I'm sure also it's available in ebook, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is a perfect spot for us to step away, let our sponsors do their thing, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
So, man, Teal, I hate to interrupt this because this is very interesting, but we do need to take a break for our sponsors. So we'll be right back.
The 5th Annual Authors Marketing Event is coming to Granbury, Texas, July 24th through the 27th. Join us and learn from the professionals how to properly market and sell yourself and your books. Go to ame.authorsmarketingguild.com for all the details. That's ame.authorsmarketingguild.com.
I'm Rox Berkey.
And I'm Charles Brakefield. We're award-winning co-authors, Brakefield and Berkey, of the Enigma book series. There are 10 books in the series, with book number 11 planned for release in January 2020.
Each story has a central technology focus ranging from identity theft to cryptocurrency and now AI wars. These adult techno thrillers pit cyber good guys against cyber thugs across the darknet.
In our world, technology is today's weapon of choice. You can enjoy ebook format, paper, or Audible. We want your feedback.
Until the next story, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, hello there, my friends. My name is Randy James, independent voiceover producer in the Dallas, Texas area, available to write and record a 30-second commercial, much like the one you're hearing right now. It's a great way to help increase awareness and exposure to your book title. It's easy to do. Simply call me and we'll brainstorm on a few ideas, and in a few hours, I'll whip something up and send you a digital file ready to use. Remember, call or text me, Randy James, at 214-762-1942.
Hello, I am the author and poet Denise Bryson. I am the author of The Things That Cross My Mind, Love's Reality, both in book and audio form. I am also noted as one of the best poets of 2011. I have two new projects coming up. One is the Blinky series, where Blinky tells us all about our coins and our bills for our children. I also have a book coming out called Say Ye. It's quotes from Denise Bryson, just inspirational and that will help you along the way.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Indie Beacon Radio. I am talking with Randi Ward, who has talked extensive about her book, about her trip to Egypt during the Second Revolution and things of that nature. So let's start with the title. What is the title about? Because you said there's a story there.
Okay. Well, it's a long title because I couldn't think of a title from a book. I named all the chapters. They all have little clever names, but I thought I want this title to be about me, but also about Egypt. So I had a Facebook contest, and like 50 people from all over the world, because I had 5,000 Facebook friends in 51 countries. I know that's crazy, but that's who I am. So I had all these people enter this contest, and amazingly enough, 2 Egyptians won it. One person thought because I believed in me, and the other one said my Egyptian fantasy came true. So I thought I love both of them, and so I just put them both together, and that became my title. And the cover, as you can see, is me supposedly with funny legs and funny arms. It's supposed to be humorous, riding a camel, which I did behind the Great Pyramids in Giza. But that was done by a real Egyptian artist friend of mine, who now is in Dubai making a lot of money doing the art. He was a physical education teacher making 200 pounds a month, which would be like $30 at that time. Think about that, okay? So I told him, I said, you are too talented to stay in Egypt. I said, you need to go somewhere and promote your art. And so he's in Dubai making becoming quite famous there as an artist. So I love that. It was very whimsical, very, traditional Egypt, but I just thought it was clever.
And he did sign it. I noticed that on the cover as well. And
Yes,
stuff. So
yes, he did.
The
Yes.
Egyptian signature on it. I'm
Yes.
glad you were able to go to the pyramids. I was wondering if you were able to get away during that 2011 issue, or if you went back or what, because that is such a historical aspect and stuff. With this is not the only thing you've written, correct?
No, I'm being a language arts teacher and having taught writing for 37 years. I write poetry, short stories for young adults and for children, small children. I'm a YouTuber. I do motivational videos. Some are funny, some are teaching, some are, just educational, because I'm an educator. I write short stories, as I said, for young adults and children. But all of my stories have to have happy endings. I'm so tired of all the violence and everything. I mean, I know that's the big thing, the violent movies, but anybody in the world can read my book and come out feeling wonderful. My characters do go through struggles sometimes, but they always have a happy ending. I teach lessons on how to get through life with different problems that people have. And my children's stories always teach the kids lessons about life, but in using animals or humorous, characters to help them with that. I'm also a poet. I love to write poetry. I'm a blogger. I'm also the chief editor for an online magazine called Morocco Pens. With my friend Ayub El-Kaidi, who's in Moroccan but now lives in New York City. He's like a son to me. And what we do is we promote non-English speakers to write in English. I edit their work and we put them in the magazine. We hope one day to make a paper magazine out of at least 1 or 2, editions a year. We'll see. But right now it's online, and we are very proud of that.
with all the writings you've done, the short stories, the poetry, and all that stuff, do you have books that have been published with collections?
Okay, well, the reason I have a couple of short stories, and I belong to this group called Walton Writers, and we've done some anthologies, and I have a love story in one of them, and we're going to do a mystery story coming out probably this spring. So I've got works and other things, and I've had magazine articles published, but as far as publishing another, no, I haven't. I'll tell you why. I really got burned with this book. You know, when you write your first book, you think you're going to be a bestseller and everybody in the world is going to buy it and read it, you know. So I spent, I won't even tell you how much, a small fortune out of my savings. You know, I mean, I did the whole publicity thing and all the copies and I mean, everything you could do, I did it. Well, you know, when you only get $2 and something in royalty, you got to sell a lot of books. Well, I haven't done that yet because I said most of the people that want to buy it can't afford it. So I got burned so badly and learned so much that I'm going to publish my own books. But the problem is I don't know how to format. And I'm still trying to figure out some easy way to format my book. And then I will be my publisher. I know I still have to spend, you know, several thousand for the copies and all that. Well, okay, maybe you can help me with that then. But anyway, no, I have a novel that's ready. It's called Random Wanderings. It's ready to be published. And I'm working on this sequel because I'm a novelist too. Wandering No More. My Wandering No More takes place in Kenya. Another thing about me is I'm a wildlife African animal advocate. I have been in 8 African countries. I work with 3 countries to save the elephants, the rhinos, and the animals. I write articles for them and do YouTube videos and help them raise money and all this. So my book, my second book that's not quite done, my novel, takes place in Kenya in the Masai Mara, which I went to in 2000. And my character, who's of course a young female veterinarian with her husband, open up a veterinarian rescue hospital for wild animals. So of course I've been researching that and having been there, I have a good friend, Nora Santosian, who's with Africa Nomads Conservation, an amazing young man that I swear one day will be president of Kenya. He's working to save the animals and I help him. I am the USA regional director and help him with that. So like I said, I'm not just a writer. I write about all kinds of things, but I'm active in so many things. I wasn't ready to retire, so I think I'm busier now than when I was teaching this 37 years, if that's possible. I
was actually wondering about that because, you know, you are retired and you did do that stunt there in Egypt. So I was really going to ask, what else are you doing? But you pretty much have answered that. You're keeping quite busy and stuff. So.
Well, my husband and I went on our last trip to Africa in March. We were in South Africa for the second time, Swaziland for the second time, but then we went to Zimbabwe and Botswana. And in Zimbabwe, I met a man named Banani who did a lion encounter. And I actually got to walk with lions because I'm not afraid of animals. I just walked with lions and petted the lions. And he has become like a good friend of mine. So once this is over, I'm going to help him promote his lion encounter thing because he's trying to breed lions from different families because what was happening, they were inbreeding and they were getting all kinds of birth defects. So he's trying to breed them from different families. But right now, with everything shut down and no tourists, because that's how he's not making any money, he had to close it down. So that's another one of our projects. But you see, that's writing. I will be writing to help him. So I'm not just, my writing is in all areas, you know. I mean, whatever I can do to help, that's what I write about.
Great. And I'm sure there are plenty of stories there that you're going to have available to you through that process, especially once we get past COVID-19 and all that. You mentioned that, you know, you're going to be publishing your own stuff. And so when we come back from our break, we'll talk about how people can find your stuff, your website and all that stuff. But in the meantime, perfect point for us to take a break and come let our sponsors do their thing. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jerry Reedy, author of the book Heat in the Vegas Night. The book is a true inside story of a group of sophisticated blackjack players that take large sums of money from Las Vegas, led by one man, the boss, who trained a group of ex-college athletes from the Pacific Northwest to use a mirror to see the dealer's hole card in blackjack. The true story, stranger than fiction, is about casino espionage, teamwork, guts and determination, and courage. Find the book at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Target.
Thank you for watching or listening to Indie Beacon Radio. Our sponsor, IndieLector.store, is the only bookstore that pays authors their fair share for book sales. Help authors to succeed and enjoy a great book by supporting them at IndieLector.store. Enjoy a 10% discount with coupon code SHOPPER20 at IndieLector.store. Coupon valid until December 31st, 2020. That's IndieLector.store, coupon code SHOPPER20.
What started as a love letter to her son has become an international love letter for all parents to their children. Now you can read acclaimed author Shanalee Charbonneau's story to your children. When her son was very sick, she calmed him by singing her own song to him. She turned that song into the book, My Mama Loves Me, I'm Her Little Boy. She wrote 3 more magical books for all parents and kids 6 and under. Available at Indie Lector, Amazon, and all local and national outlets.
Authors Marketing Guild is a membership-owned organization designed to help authors succeed and learn how to better market and sell themselves and their books. Join us at authorsmarketingguild.com and receive so many benefits you'll wonder why you didn't join sooner. That's authorsmarketingguild.com.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
And welcome back to the last episode of the Indie Beacon Radio Show with Randi Ward. So let's start off, Randi. You've got a lot of projects going on and stuff, and people want to follow you or better understand all the different things you're doing, whether it's in Egypt or in Africa or anything else. How can they find you?
Okay, my YouTube video channel is just Randi Ward. My Facebook page is Randi D Ward Author, and I also have, my personal page, but I have my author's page. My website, which I'm very proud of, is www.randidward.com. That's RANDIDWARD, all lowercase. I'm on Twitter. It's just Randi D Ward on Twitter. I just use my name for almost everything.
And of course, on your website, you have hopefully a calendar once we get to that point again, where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing and all that stuff, right?
Yes, I always put that on there too. And I post all those things on Facebook. Yes.
Okay, good. And as far as the books that you're working on, wanting to come out and stuff, the fiction stories, do you have a time frame when you're hoping to have that done?
Well, as I said, with the COVID-19 and the death of my husband, I'm dealing with a lot of grief right now. In fact, I plan to write a book about how to deal with grief, from my personal perspective eventually, because I'm journaling that, what I feel every day. I'm hoping by the end of the year, like I said, I think I'm very close to finding someone that will help me format my book. My books are ready. I just need to format them. And like I said, I probably have 4 books of poetry, at least 10 short stories for children, an anthology of short stories for adults. I'm ready. I just have to get things so I can format it and then find a reasonable place to publish, because I'm not going to get burned again. I'm going to be in charge this time.
There you go. The publishing world is definitely changing, especially right now. A lot of people don't realize how COVID-19 is actually affecting the publishing world as well and stuff. So a lot of big authors that love to go out and do book signings are not able to do it, and they're dealing with that as well and stuff. We have a couple minutes left of this show, and so I'm going to ask you the one big question. What words of advice do you have for somebody who wants to write their own book?
Well, to me, writing was the easy part, but when you decide to publish, research very carefully. No question is stupid. Make sure you understand everything before you go with a publisher. Or if you don't want to do that, find someone who has published, self-published themselves, and get advice from them. That was my big thing. I did, research publishers, but then I was so excited about getting my book published that I kind of rushed into it. And I'm not doing that again. It's been 10 years now, so I'm obviously not rushing into it. So, but that's my biggest advice. And also, I have a copyrighted quote that tells pretty much who I am. And it's, believe, don't dream big, dream bigger. The sky is the limit, so reach for the stars. And I do that with my writing. I try to teach people to believe in themselves and dream bigger. And that's the reason I have all these young friends on Facebook that when they get depressed, they come to Mama Ward for advice to help pump them up so that they can continue with their lives. And so that's what I try to do with my writing, is pump everybody up, make everybody feel good, that there is hope no matter how bad your situation is, and if you feel bad, write about it. Sometimes it helps me to write, especially this time when I'm grieving so badly. I still cry, but the writing's helping me get through this.
And that's very true. Writing is very therapeutic. I know for myself, my first book was very therapeutic. I killed off a lot of people that just pissed me off. So it worked well, and it definitely changes your attitude on things and stuff. So I want to thank you for being with our show. We are at the end, but thank you very much. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me do this. It was wonderful. Thank you. Good luck to you too.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website.
Indie Beacon Radio with the host, B. Alan Bourgeois.
Indie Beacon Radio is produced by B. Alan Bourgeois for Authors Marketing Guild LLC, copyright 2020. Voiceover by Randy James, Lydia Bello, and B. Alan Bourgeois. To be a sponsor of the show or for more information, please email us at info@authorsmarketingguild.com. To be interviewed for the show, please complete the form at radio.authorsmarketingguild.com. Music Always Rejoice by Ramcord.